Let's talk about the difference between a first quarter square in your natal chart and a last quarter square in your natal chart. They are both squares, but they operate very, very differently. So if an astrologer has looked at your chart and never made this distinction and educated you on which type of square you have in your chart, then let me be the first. Let me reiterate this concept for you if you've heard it before, because I find it to me one of the most satisfying things that we can do in astrology is to be very precise about the advice that we give, about the reflections that we have and that we feel. Okay? I'll tell you straight away the essential distinction between a first quarter square and a last quarter square is simply that one of them urges you to say yes to something scary, and the other urges you to say no to something you have outgrown. Okay? So go into your chart right now and check to see what squares you have. Now, if you're not sure whether they are a first quarter square or a last quarter square, it's quite simple. You need to isolate the slower moving planet and move your finger, so put your finger on the slower moving planet, then move counterclockwise around the zodiac until you reach the slower moving planet, okay? In any square configuration, there are two planets, right? One of them will be slower moving, the other will be faster moving. If you have to go all the way around the zodiac, which is a 270-degree elongation, that's a last quarter square. If you only need to go 1/4 of a way around the zodiac, that is a 90-degree elongation, which is a first quarter square. Okay? Very different energies and very different challenges. All too often, astrologers will just say, oh, it's a challenge. Oh, it's a block, right? That's not helpful to hear, right? It's very helpful to be advised that the scary thing that you're thinking about doing, you should try doing it and not worry about FOMO. That's a first quarter square. And then if you've really outgrown something, if you've really reached the limit and decided that you were done somewhere, but you might not know what's going to be next and you're feeling some anxiety of purpose, that's a last quarter square. And the idea in both of these squares is that you need to make that decision. This is an oversimplification, right? But in a first quarter square, you have to say yes. And in a last quarter square, you have to say no. Okay? So there's even more specificity and refinement that I could share with you. I won't do it in this video, but essentially there can be two different types of first quarter squares and there can be two different types of last quarter squares as well. So figure out what your squares are. Let me know if you agree with how I've made this a generalization, saying yes and saying no. And if you want, I can break down these other two types of squares, because really there are 4 types of squares. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your astrology and goodbye for now.